The world's filled with mind-blowing attractions that really get your heart racing. While attractions are usually meant to be attracting, as the name says, right? But what if we told you some are far from attractive? Some are sort of terrifying. These are the 15 scariest attractions in the world. Number 15, Tianmen Shan Cable Car. Tianmen Mountain in Hunan Province rises 4,196 feet above sea level, if that's more your thing. The Tianmen Shan cable car ferries passengers from the city center up to the air garden, which is perched neatly at the mountain's summit. The views from this ride are pretty stunning, but so is the altitude, which gives many riders a nasty case of vertigo. Technically speaking, it's the world's longest high mountain passenger cable car. Sure, longer ones exist, but for other kinds of purposes. This one stretches 7,455 meters, just over 5 miles, and takes about 28 minutes to travel the full route. The steepest incline hits 38 degrees, and the whole area is packed with breathtaking natural scenery, most of which is on full display throughout the ride. It's equal parts scenic and nerve-wracking, especially if you're prone to looking down. The silence, the drop, the isolation, all of it combine into a scenic ride that's also just super terrifying. Number 14, roller coaster in Cosmo Land. Amusement parks in Japan don't hold back when it comes to doing things a little unique. Always chasing new limits, theme parks are constantly experimenting with roller coasters, whether it's virtual reality add-ons or actors mid-ride turning the whole thing into a mini-drama. But this ride at Cosmo Land in Yokohama has a trick up its sleeve. The Vanish roller coaster sends riders underground in a seriously startling fashion. It races through the air like any normal coaster, soaring up and diving down, looping around as expected, until it suddenly takes a steep drop toward a water-filled pit. Then, just like that, it disappears. From certain angles, it genuinely looks like the coaster dives into the pool. From others, you can spot a tunnel hidden below. Still, when the water splashes around you and the ride dives below surface level, it feels like you've fallen off the rails entirely. It's scary, but more the kind of scary that makes you want to go again. Number 13, Yukon Striker. The Yukon Striker at Canada's Wonderland in Vaughan is one of those rides that makes your stomach flip just by seeing it. It's what's known as a dive coaster, and it earns the title in every possible sense. The ride begins like any other, climbing steadily higher and higher until it reaches a teetering peak. Then comes the free fall, an almost vertical plunge that yanks you downward into a tunnel at breakneck speed. It's the kind of drop that can make you regret every snack you had earlier in the day. After that opening dive, the coaster doesn't exactly relax. It hurls riders through sweeping turns, more tunnels, and a series of spirals that leave little room for catching your breath. The mix of speed, vertical drops, and sudden tunnels creates a good blend of fear and exhilaration. It's loud, extreme, and relentless. A ride that keeps testing how much your nerves and stomach can handle. We say just one thing: don't bring your dog here. Number 12, giant Godzilla-themed attraction. This ride blends all kinds of chaotic fun into one monstrous setup. At this attraction, visitors zip-line directly into the jaws of a life-sized Godzilla in the middle of the theme park. Riders start off on a platform, get strapped to the zip line, which, let's be honest, isn't for everyone, and then get launched straight into the mouth of the beast. Once inside, there's a shooting game where riders try to stop Godzilla from regenerating. The creature stands at 75 feet tall, 82 feet wide, and stretches a massive 180 feet long. It's a truly enormous figure, enough to make you nervous before even being flung into its throat. And yes, the whole park leans into the Godzilla theme, from the museum and merchandise to the Godzilla-shaped curry served in the restaurants. It's all deeply committed to the bit, right down to the gloriously oversized monster centerpiece. To see this palace, you can go to Nijigen no Mori theme park on Awaji Island. Number 11. The Plank Walk to Heaven. Well, no, it doesn't send you to heaven, but a single mistake definitely does that. The infamous plank walk on Mount Hua in China has a reputation as the most dangerous hike in the world, and it's not hard to see why. This isn't your average mountain trail. Instead, you're creeping along a wooden board barely 30 centimeters wide, bolted to the sheer cliffside, with only a harness and rope system keeping you from plunging thousands of feet below. To get there, you'll navigate ladders, carved footholds, and narrow ledges that make every step feel like a gamble. The danger is not just rumor. Reports claim tourists have slipped or even deliberately jumped, with unverified figures suggesting dozens of deaths each year. Still, the plank walk continues to draw thousands of thrill seekers, all chasing the adrenaline of straddling one of the world's narrowest paths with nothing but air at their side. But the payoff is eye-blowing. Number 10. Formula Rossa. When it comes to being the biggest, fastest, and flashiest, the United Arab Emirates tends to sweep the board, and that includes roller coasters. So it tracks that the world's fastest coaster is found in Abu Dhabi. The Formula Rossa can hit nearly 150 miles per hour, and it accelerates so quickly that riders need protective goggles, mostly to avoid eating bugs mid-ride. The train shoots from the station to its top speed in 4.9 seconds, using a hydraulic launch system with the same kind of force used to launch jets off aircraft carriers. The whole thing's designed for pure speed and a non-stop wave of G-forces. The 2.5-kilometer track was inspired by Italy's famous Monza circuit, hence the name. If all you care about is raw speed, this is your ride. Is it terrifying? Honestly, yes. And those safety goggles do give your ride photo a little extra edge. But mostly, it's about being launched like a human missile. So, will you try this madness? Number 9. The Cage of Death. In Darwin, Australia, Crocosaurus Cove offers one of the most nerve-shredding wildlife encounters imaginable, the Cage of Death. Visitors are lowered into a tank of water inside a thick plexiglass enclosure with a massive saltwater crocodile swimming just inches away. At first glance, it sounds like a death wish. In truth, it's carefully designed for safety, but that doesn't stop the sight of a 15-foot predator circling you from triggering primal panic. The cage itself is lowered slowly, giving you an uncomfortably long view of jaws and teeth gliding just beyond the walls. Inside, you're submerged in the reptile's territory, hearing the scrape of its claws and watching its eyes track you. Saltwater crocs are among the deadliest animals in Australia, known for their immense bite force and explosive attacks. Here, though, you're shielded just enough to get close without becoming lunch, a thrill that feels reckless but is tightly controlled. Number 8. Kilimanjaro Water Slide. We've arrived at Wedgie Central. Officially, it's called the Kilimanjaro Water Slide, located at Aguascuentes Country Club in Rodovia, Brazil. This version of Kilimanjaro may be a lot shorter than the original mountain, but it's intimidating in its own way. Measuring just under 164 feet, it's a body slide, which means no raft, no float, no buffer. You just go. Standing at the top is such a nerve-wracking experience that roughly 1/3 of the people who climb all the way up chicken out before going down. But for those who do, you'll hit up to 57 miles per hour as you fly down the slope, butt-clenching the whole way. Then finally, you're launched into the splash pool at the bottom with nothing but your soaked dignity and half your bathing suit swallowed by the water. Fast, ridiculous, and enough to make even the boldest dudes second-guess their life choices. Number 7. Thunder River Rapids Ride. The Thunder River Rapids ride at Dreamworld in Australia had the look of harmless family fun, but behind the cheerful surface, it was one of the most dangerous rides ever built. For years, it ferried guests along a circular raft course, simulating the rush of whitewater rapids. In October 2016, the illusion shattered when a malfunction caused a raft to flip, killing 4 riders instantly. The inquest revealed the ride had been a catastrophe waiting to happen. Safety systems were outdated, emergency features inadequate, and inspections woefully neglected. Investigators even described it as a ticking time bomb. Considering it had operated for 3 decades, it's staggering that tragedy didn't strike sooner. Survivors called it a miracle they'd made it off alive in earlier years. Once a gem, it is now remembered as one of the most infamous failures in amusement park history, a chilling reminder of what happens when thrill rides cut corners on safety. Number 6. Aqualoop Water Slide. The Aqualoop water slide is designed for people who crave the sensation of being dropped into chaos. Riders step onto a trapdoor platform, cross their arms, and wait as the floor suddenly vanishes beneath them. Instantly, they're launched into a near-vertical plunge that transitions into a full loop, sending them whipping upside down before shooting them out into a splash pool. The tube is transparent in sections, so spectators can watch riders race through at speeds topping 40 miles per hour. To riders, it feels like seconds of pure adrenaline. No time to breathe, just the rush of acceleration and the shock of inversion. For onlookers, it's equal parts entertaining and alarming. And when it ends, oh boy, you're spat out into the water with your swimsuit wedged in places you'd rather not discuss. It's quick, punishing, and relentless, a water slide that ditches any sense of comfort for sheer speed and disorientation. It's a must-try. Number 5. Boating at Iguazu Falls. At Iguazu Falls, straddling the border of Brazil and Argentina, visitors can hop on a boat trip through one of the most breathtaking landscapes on the planet. You're surrounded by roaring waterfalls, spray arching into rainbows, and scenery so cinematic it almost feels unreal. It's a bit like Niagara Falls, except here, you're in South America, and the scale feels even more colossal. The sheer number of tourists who travel here every year proves how magnetic this place is. But it isn't just sightseeing. If you choose, you can board a speedboat and ride straight into the spray, weaving close to the base of the falls and getting drenched in the process. The falls are protected as national parks on both sides and are also recognized as a UNESCO site, which underlines their global significance. As thrilling as it is beautiful, the ride leaves you soaked head to toe, but with an experience you'll never ever forget. All right now, let's move to Number 4. Falcon's Fury. At Busch Gardens in Tampa, Florida, Falcon's Fury stands as the tallest freestanding drop tower in North America, rising 335 feet into the sky. Riders ascend slowly, the anticipation growing with every second, before the seats rotate forward, leaving them staring face first at the ground below. Without warning, the platform releases, sending riders plummeting toward Earth at around 60 miles per hour. The entire free fall lasts only a few seconds, but the effect is brutal, a mix of weightlessness and sheer terror. Unlike most drop towers, Falcon's Fury flips its riders into a prone position, mimicking the dive of a bird of prey. For some, it's an exhilarating rush. For others, it's a nightmare that feels over before it begins. Critics sometimes call it underwhelming because of the short duration, but the psychological buildup, the slow climb, the tilting seats, the dreadful pause, makes those seconds of descent feel stretched into eternity. Number 3. Action Park. Action Park in Vernon became infamous, not for thrills alone, but for the chaos it unleashed. Opening in 1978, the park drew crowds with its unusual rides and lack of conventional rules. Attractions were often bizarrely designed, poorly tested, and staffed by teenagers with minimal training. Safety protocols were practically non-existent, and alcohol flowed freely, making the atmosphere as reckless as the rides themselves. Accidents quickly became routine. Guests walked away with broken bones, concussions, and in too many cases, never walked away at all. At least 6 people died at Action Park, cementing its reputation as one of the most hazardous amusement parks ever built. Locals gave it nicknames like Class Action Park, Accident Park, and Traction Park, a dark badge of its notoriety. For many, it was a place of absurd summer stories. For others, it was a place of tragedy. Action Park remains a symbol of thrill-seeking gone too far. Number 2, Goliath. At Six Flags Magic Mountain in California, the Goliath coaster more than lives up to its name. This metal monster is called a hypercoaster because it was built for speed, scale, and sheer intimidation. Riders begin with an excruciatingly slow climb up its massive chain lift, inching toward the top as anticipation builds. At the summit, you barely have time to process the view before the track suddenly drops. The first descent plunges 255 feet at 85 miles per hour, leaving stomachs floating and hearts racing. Immediately afterward, the coaster shoots into a long underground tunnel, creating the dizzying head-chopper illusion as steel beams flash past. The layout then hurls riders through more steep descents and rapid transitions, alternating between moments of weightlessness and crushing G-forces. Stretching 4,500 feet, the ride feels relentless, designed to test your limits over and over again. If you love thrills, this coaster is it. Number 1, Verruckt Water Slide. Verruckt, the towering water slide once standing in Kansas City, Kansas, lived up to its German name, insane. Marketed as the tallest water slide in the world, it sent riders hurtling down a 168-foot drop at speeds exceeding 70 miles per hour. The ride used enclosed rafts, supposedly designed to keep guests safe while delivering a record-breaking thrill. Instead, the engineering was fatally flawed. Built largely in-house at Schlitterbahn Water Park, it bypassed industry safety standards from the very start. In 2016, tragedy struck when a 10-year-old boy was decapitated after his raft went airborne. The horrifying accident forced its immediate closure and eventual demolition in 2018. Verruckt had been featured on television shows like Extreme Water Parks and once promoted as a marvel of innovation. In reality, it became a cautionary tale about recklessness and hubris. What was meant to attract visitors turned into one of the darkest chapters in amusement park history. A ride infamous not for thrills, but for disaster. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.